Ladies and gentlemen, happy 2025. Happy New Year. Have a safe and beautiful and wonderful and amazing year. First and foremost, to my super chat, Paul Bartlett, thank you so very much for starting off the year. So generous. Thank you so very, very much. Paul in Australia, thank you. To my super chat and to my viewers around the world, thank you so very much. We're almost at 270,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be over 300,000 very soon, and it's because of you. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is an article from from some time ago, how Matt Gaetz helped make Ron DeSantis. Now, a couple of people have said, hey, H.A., you continually talk about Matt Gaetz. Why are you talking about Matt Gaetz now? Well, number one, he was not charged with any crime, and you will hear how Matt Gaetz helped make Ron DeSantis, let's say. And this is a Politico article. You will also hear why Matt Gaetz could very likely be the next senator in Florida. So hit subscribe to this channel. Paul, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. Let's get started. Number one, Ron DeSantis needs the help of Matt Gaetz more than ever if he wants to battle and surpass J.D. Vance. Trump will have a very good 4 years. J.D. Vance, there's no stopping him in my mind for president in 28. The only chance Ron DeSantis has to win the nomination in 28 is to do something like give Matt Gaetz the Senate seat, Rubio's Senate seat. Okay? We'll find out exactly why in a second. Hit subscribe to this channel. I want to show you this. This was just a couple of years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Gaetz was coaching Ron DeSantis on how to debate. I think it was he was debating on how to debate for 24. This is very interesting.
DeSantis would need to win over Trump voters, an issue he grappled with in the past as he ran for governor.
Is there any issue upon which you disagree with President Trump?
Obviously there is, because I voted contrary to him in the Congress.
The past internal recordings offering a rare glimpse into how DeSantis has previously wrestled with how to appeal to Trump's loyal base.
I have to frame it in a way that's not going to piss off all his voters. So what I do is I do what I think is right. I support his agenda in terms of what he's been able to do. If I have a disagreement, I talk to him in private.
Florida lawmakers Matt Gaetz and Byron Donalds helping DeSantis then, but have since endorsed Trump's third White House bid. In the video, aides coaching DeSantis on a range of topics, including how to be likable.
I think when you walk up there, if you have a pad, you have to write in all caps at the top of the pad, likable. And just look at,
So you saw a glimpse into Ron DeSantis being coached by Matt Gaetz. Okay, this is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, for a number of reasons. Okay, he needs the support of the millions and millions and millions and millions of people who voted for Trump. Okay, and Ron DeSantis does not have that support now because he ran against Trump in 24. That was seen by a great many people throughout the country as not only disloyal, but trying to kick somebody when they're down, okay? And people think that Ron DeSantis is too establishment. I'm telling you, if anyone in DeSantis' circle watches this, the best thing for Ron DeSantis would be to make a closer political ally of Matt Gaetz. Rubio's Senate seat is up for grabs. Matt Gaetz is a close ally of the future Attorney General Pam Bondi. These are all Florida Republicans, but Trump Republicans. Trump has redefined the Republican Party forever, especially in Florida. Used to be a swing state. Now it's a red state. A very red state. Okay? And that's because of President Trump. We had record low poverty with Trump. We had record highs in household median income with Trump. That was according to CNN. We didn't have the invasions around the world. We didn't have the chaos and mayhem, the crime, all of that stuff. So the best thing that Ron DeSantis could do for his political future is not only get closer to President Trump, become more of a populist Republican, but make, even greater allies with Ron DeSantis. I think that him becoming senator is not only possible, it's the only thing that could actually help DeSantis surpass J.D. Vance. Okay, you hit subscribe to this channel because we're going to talk about the analysis not just of today, but in the future, 4 years from now. Who do Democrats have? Absolutely nobody. They have nobody. I pray to God AOC runs. I pray to God AOC runs. Okay? Nikki Haley might get the popular vote. I would never vote for Nikki Haley. I'm just saying. Nikki Haley could probably get the popular vote over AOC. But Nikki Haley would be a terrible choice. Very traditional, never Trump, Bush Cheney Republican. But I'm just saying, Democrats have nobody for 28. Republicans, or Trump Republicans, have J.D. Vance, who is against never-ending military conflict. That's how you go from Bernie Sanders. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, in 2015 and 2016. I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Okay, you can read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Roanoke Times, other publications at hagoodman.com. Okay, but again, you go from the left to Trump Republican because you are anti-war. It's the moral imperative to vote for a Trump Republican. Okay, Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, Ron DeSantis, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rand Paul, Elon Musk, John Ratcliffe, Kash Patel are against endless military conflict. They want to prevent nuclear confrontation. That is the number one foreign policy objective I've always had. To prevent and stop forever Americans being sent to counterinsurgency conflicts. That's what drives me politically. That's how you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump. But if you don't care about endless wars, you don't understand why anyone would want to vote for Trump. He is against endless military conflict. Now, with DeSantis, we think that the average Trump supporter thinks that he leans towards Trump, but isn't sure. The best thing to do would be to hand to hand Matt Gaetz that Senate seat. Matt Gaetz was not charged with a crime. Number one, he was not charged with a crime. Number two, if there was any evidence of impropriety or misconduct or criminal behavior, he would have been charged years ago. That's a fact. Number three, all of these liberal pundits or left-leaning publications or channels, Matt Gaetz, the ethics report. The ethics report was written likely by a Democratic staffer or staffers, okay? There was no ethics report against Joe Biden or Bill Clinton, and they were accused of roughly the same types of things, possibly worse. There was no ethics report against Hunter Biden, who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, let's just say, people who give services in the evening. Hundreds of thousands, not just thousands like Matt Gaetz is accused of. But you have a list of Democrats who are accused, especially Biden before 2020, literally accused of the most heinous, despicable criminal act. And Democrats and media went after the person alleging the criminal activity. Okay? Along the lines even worse than what Matt Gaetz was accused of. But they didn't care with Biden. Anyway, let's continue.
Videos, by the way, of Governor Ron DeSantis' debate prep from 2018 have leaked online. They reveal his thoughts on dealing with former President Donald Trump. Come in here, Lauren. What did he say, and what's the reaction been like?
Yeah, Ashley, so it's interesting because this was 5 years ago when he was running for governor of Florida, and Congressman Byron Donalds and Matt Gaetz, who have endorsed Donald Trump for 2024, they've condemned the leak to ABC News. They coached DeSantis for that debate back in 2018. And these leaked tapes show two themes, important then, and honestly, Ashley, more important now. The first is, how does he manage the Trump question and not alienate Trump voters? And the second is likability. And
you will be likable if you're genuine. And the problem here is that when DeSantis ran against, this is why I think Matt Gaetz could be very likely or very possibly the next senator, and why DeSantis could give Gaetz Rubio's Senate seat. Okay. Number one, Gaetz wasn't charged. Number two, Gaetz has a very strong political foothold. His father was very big in politics in Florida, and Gaetz has a very strong political foothold in Florida. The third reason is that call their bluff like in poker. Just if Democrats play poker brilliantly, they're always throwing stones, living in glass houses, and pretending that they're morally virtuous while engaging in the most despicable behavior. Well, why are they accusing Matt Gaetz of all of this? Well, Gaetz told Tucker Carlson, I'm not going to show you the footage, but there's possibly an extortion attempt against his family. Possibly. This is what Matt Gaetz says. Again, these are allegations that need to be tried in a court of law. I mean, in a criminal court. If there was no evidence in a criminal court, like Elon Musk said, the allegations are meaningless. If you're going to care about allegations, then you should care also about the allegations against Biden, Bill Clinton, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, all the Democrats that have been accused of terrible criminal activity by individuals, by females. And it's not just Biden and it's others too. There's a long list of Democratic officials, congressmen, senators that have been accused of Menendez. There's been a long list. Okay, the former attorney general in New York. We can go on forever. Okay, we can go on forever. The point is, you can't continually kowtow to the indignation of morally superior liberal Democrats who routinely defend criminal activity, the most despicable behavior on their side of the political divide, while at the same time pontificating and preaching about the immorality of Republicans. Democrats have become the 1980s televangelists, except they don't believe in God, so there you go. It's like the atheists who become televangelists preaching about morality, but then going to parties on islands with, potential possible 90s musical artists and New York Democratic donors who shall remain nameless, probably in a very heated environment below the ground at this moment. So it's like, call their bluff. What better way than saying, okay, we're going to put DeSantis we're going to put Gaetz as Florida Senator, Rubio's spot, and we'll get to Matt Gaetz talking about that. He wasn't charged with anything. If they had something, Merrick Garland, they indicted Trump when they didn't even have evidence. So imagine they have probably less than evidence. They probably have, potentially, people conspiring against Matt Gaetz.
you can hear in the tape a suggestion being made to write the word likable in all caps on the top of his notepad. To remember, don't sound condescending, smile. So the DeSantis team is blasting this leak as well. And they added, that's what would be expected from the Disney-owned ABC. Ashley.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel if you're new. Paul Bartlett, thank you to my super chat. Thank you so very much. Paul in Australia and everyone around here. around the world watching, thank you so much for your support. Your super chat is so greatly appreciated. Happy 2025. Have a beautiful, safe, amazing, wonderful, prosperous 2025 for everybody. This story, ladies and gentlemen, Gaetz becoming the next senator in Florida with the help of DeSantis is a political reality far greater than Matt Gaetz getting indicted by Pam Bondi. That ain't going to happen. Almost certainly not going to happen unless there's evidence. So I'll give a caveat here in case anyone takes my statements or my analysis out of context. If Matt Gaetz, if Bill Clinton, if Hunter Biden, if Joe Biden, if anyone is accused of a criminal act against a woman, they should be sent to prison forever, or you know, the full extent of the law. The full extent of the law should be leveled upon them. That being said, you need criminal evidence. That's why George Stephanopoulos and ABC News paid $15 million. They lied about Trump like they've been doing, like media's been doing for almost a decade now. That's why Trump won the popular vote, the Senate, the House, every battleground state, the presidency, and he has the Supreme Court. Democrats are terrible at governing. They had every advantage. Now, nobody trusts media. Most people dislike Hollywood. I mean, you know, everyone likes a good movie, but do you think anyone cares if they see it? Most people don't care if they see a celebrity nowadays. Or, I mean, most people can't even name the top 5 or top 4 celebrities in the world. I mean, you know, you have Democratic donors and musical artists and Hollywood producers either in prison or about to be in prison. So, anyway, let's continue. This is about, ladies and gentlemen, DeSantis in 2028, okay? It helps Ron DeSantis a great deal with Matt Gaetz as senator. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm not going to give you the percentage chance of this happening, but it's a lot greater than DeSantis or Gaetz getting indicted because there was no evidence to indict him, apparently. Okay, he would have been indicted, he would have been charged, he would have been found criminally liable and charged in a court of law and prosecuted and convicted and sentenced in a court of law if Matt Gaetz was guilty. That would have happened. Okay? But there was no evidence. Then they have an ethics report, and they're just also happy and dancing in the streets. It's like Democrats continue to just govern poorly and, you know, play this really silly game of poker. They're bluffing. They just live off of their own indignation and whatever is left of media, like the trust, the dwindling trust in media. Nobody trusts media anymore. And that's because of the constant, oh, we found this, the walls are closing in, oh my goodness, how immoral this person is. Like, nobody cares because everybody knows Democrats are far more immoral than the people they claim, lack morality. But anyway, let's continue. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a debate that DeSantis might be getting into in 28. I can't see Newsome, but possibly Newsome could be the nominee. That would be a tiny bit better for Democrats than AOC. I don't see him winning at all.
And Gavin Newsom throwing down in the epic red versus blue state debate on Hannity. The two high-profile governors talking trash for months and finally getting the chance to hammer each other's record face to face.
They tax too much. They regulate too much. They have a political agenda. It's not a good climate for business. They've lost a lot of companies.
California dominates, size of 21 state populations combined. It's the 5th largest economy in the world.
He had the kids locked out of school because of the teachers union. That is having a generational impact.
The last guy you want to talk to on the immigration, lying to migrants, promising them jobs and housing, sending them to an island, Martha's Vineyard.
Well, this isn't
an island called Martha's Vineyard. What is this, like, banishing? Where did Napoleon go? We're talking about Elba. We're talking about Martha's Vineyard, sending them to Martha's Vineyard. It's like, oh my God, you sent them to Beverly Hills? You sent them to one of the most wealthiest places in the world? But you can see that DeSantis isn't as like Newsome is smooth talking and, but DeSantis is doing a better job as governor. But I don't really know if I think he won the debate, but I don't know by how much. Okay, there are Democrats who say that Newsome won the debate. And there's no way DeSantis surpasses J.D. Vance. That's my point. That's why you hit subscribe to this channel, because we're going to talk about some fun things, some interesting things, some intriguing topics. Okay? I mean, we're waiting for January 20th. We're waiting for all the cabinet picks. Kash Patel at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, John Ratcliffe at Central Intelligence, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. A whole new ballgame, Democrats. And you'll see indictments. The indictments, if you've watched this for a while, the indictments are actually going to be imminent this time. Because you have people who care about the rule of law. Remember the rule of law? Well, Democrats seem to care about the rule of law with Trump, but they just made things up. Now you have people who broke the law. You cannot break the law trying to indict Trump. If you did that, the person will get indicted. But let's continue.
An app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco.
The two also taking some vicious personal shots at each other.
I can handle it. I'm used to bullying. You're nothing but a bully.
You're a bully.
I understand that.
He'll tell a blizzard of lies to be able to try to mask the failures.
You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games to try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you, Ron? You're down 41 points in your own home state. You're down 41 points in your...
So DeSantis didn't like that. See, again, there's so many ways to defeat. There were so many ways to defeat Newsome in this debate, and DeSantis, he did the best he could. He did a good job, but Newsome, just in terms of body language, did better. Okay, and that's the thing. You can't be running against Donald Trump, who won the popular vote, and then expect 4 years later to have any chance with the same people, millions upon millions, tens of millions of people who love Trump. Okay, I love Trump because of his policies, because of record low poverty. We had record low poverty. Fact. That's according to CNN in 2019, before Democratic governors shut down their states, oftentimes gleefully. Okay. What political side said we had to shut down the U.S. economy? What political side would do so again? Okay, so before that, CNN and others, New York Times, we had record low poverty with Trump. Record low poverty, record highs in household median income. We had hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs. We lost 200,000 with President Obama in 8 years. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, you have to ask yourself, does DeSantis have a chance? Well, with Matt Gaetz, he does. Matt Gaetz is very, very influential among the populist Republican. I don't want to say movement, because it's more than just a movement. He's very influential within the Republican Party. Matt Gaetz is. Okay, very, very, very influential, especially among Trump Republicans, which is basically the majority of the party. And I don't care about political parties. I care about, I would never, the difference between me and you and the average Democrat is if Liz Cheney was the nominee, every communist, socialist, left-leaning, progressive channel on this platform and every other platform would vote for Liz Cheney, the Democratic nominee. Okay? You'd have people with different color hair who are talking about the working class, man, and they'd vote for Liz Cheney. They don't care. The people who vote Democrat no matter what do not care. If they're told to vote for Liz Cheney, they will. If they're told to vote for Adam Kinzinger, they will. If they're told to vote for Dick Cheney, they will. If George W. Bush became a Republican, they'd vote for a Democrat, they'd vote for George W. Bush. But the point is, not so with Trump Republicans. Okay, I wouldn't vote for Nikki Haley. I like DeSantis a lot. I would vote for DeSantis, but maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I trust him 100%. But if he does something like give the Senate seat to Gaetz, that would move the needle. Then you have J.D. Vance. There's maybe 5-10%. Okay, is there a question mark there? 5%? No. Vance is above DeSantis now in terms of 28, far above. But then DeSantis does something like this, says, okay, you know what? I'll make up for running against Trump, kicking him when he was down. And now you have a tie ball game. But anyway, let's continue.
Your own home state.
He's just throwing stuff out to see what sticks against the wall. This is a slick, slippery politician.
Yeah. I will take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day of the week at any age.
And that did not age well. The Democrats lost because they don't have primaries. That's the biggest reason they lost, in addition to inflation and endless military conflict. And a terrible foreign policy and a just overall terrible, a whole bunch of terrible, aspects of governance, but they don't have primaries. 2016, Bernie Sanders was railroaded. And in 2024, what happened to Biden was 20 times worse than what happened to Bernie Sanders. And what happened to Bernie Sanders was like a life-changing moment for me. Biden won his primary, then they kicked him out after one debate. I think even DeSantis, I think even Newsome wanted him out.
DeSantis and Newsome trading jabs over their future political ambitions.
When are you going to drop out and at least give Nikki Haley a shot to take down Donald Trump in this nomination? She laid you out.
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it. Why don't you just admit that you're running?
I don't know how many times I can say it. Just making this stuff up about a shadow campaign.
What Biden and Harris and Newsome want to do is take the California model and do that nationally.
There's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, you've been chomping at the bit all day, wanted to get this off your chest. What's going on?
Can I tell you something? He is a mean-spirited, petty guy. And No, obviously, Greasy Gavin. Okay, that's my new name for him. The thing that I found most offensive was one that really didn't have a lot to do with substance. It's when he interrupted Ron when he was talking about Joe Biden and the teachers union and Kamala Harris. And he interrupted. I don't know if we have that sound, guys, where he says, by the way, it's not Kamala Harris. Shame on you. Oh, yeah. It's Kamala. It's Kamala. It's Madam Vice President to you. Stop insulting the woman. Talk about petty.
That's another reason Democrats lost. The constant grandstanding, the soapbox, the grandstanding, the preaching, the lectures and sermons on morality.
But then the thing is that every time,
as they get 50 intel officials to go to bat for the Bidens with endless alleged criminal activity, almost certainly bribery and graft within a laptop. But again, it's like they won't admit it. See, President Trump is great because he's able to take a mirror and have the Democrats look into the mirror, and like Medusa, they turn to stone. When Democrats can see themselves, for example, with Biden that one time in the debate, they're like, oh my God, we look that bad. And then they, switch to a person that polled even worse than Biden. They didn't have a chance at the popular vote. In hindsight, I was surprised. I said Trump was going to win for the past 4 years in 24, but I didn't know about the popular vote because I didn't think media had lost that much influence. Okay, Agent Pepsi, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. But let's continue.
Time they brought up the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the census, the CDC, Sean Hannity made Gavin Newsom the liar that he is. I mean, the taxes in California, the people leaving California, and then telling people that you've created jobs because you're allowing them to return to the jobs that you locked them out of unconstitutionally during the lockdown is a straight out lie. So the bottom line is, here's a guy who destroyed the city of San Francisco, became the governor of the state of California. Now he's destroyed the state of California, wants to be president of the United States. And I think people saw him for a petty, slimy guy.
Did Newsom win on style or substance or neither?
See, Newsom did better than you would think, okay? You would think that DeSantis could easily defeat him. See, again, what DeSantis did, this is, okay, Matt Gaetz, him possibly, who knows what the percentages are? Let's say it's not likely. You could say it's not likely. Or if you really look at things, there's a good chance. But for most people, they would say, oh, it's not likely. But Matt Gaetz's political future is tied to DeSantis, or DeSantis' political future is tied to Matt Gaetz. So all these people talking about Matt Gaetz, this and that, the ethics report, it's like, and a couple people say, well, why do you always talk about the same topic? We're waiting for January 20th. It's very interesting. People are obsessing over the ethics report, and the ethics report hasn't led to any charges. Like I said, if he's guilty, charge him. Democrats charged Trump, indicted Trump under everything under the sun, and guess what? Trump won the popular vote. Same thing with Matt Gaetz. There could be an ethics report. He could become the next senator of Florida. And you need somebody like Matt Gaetz as senator. You need somebody like Matt Gaetz to move the Senate towards Trump. That's huge. That also helps DeSantis immeasurably. Okay? DeSantis didn't really, if he won against Newsom, which he should have easily defeated Newsom, if he won against Newsom, it was just purely on the facts and the statistics and the data. But again, debates unfortunately aren't about that. You could see that Newsom was more relaxed. You could see that DeSantis was more uptight. And also running against Trump wasn't good for him. He lost a lot of support among millions and millions of people who love Trump. But like I said, giving Gaetz that Senate seat would help DeSantis immeasurably in 28.
Well, good to see Will and Sandy here at the table.
Thank you.
I'd say a couple of things.
I'm not concerned with people that already like DeSantis. I'm not concerned with Trump voters. I'm not even concerned with Newsom voters or Biden voters. I'm concerned with casual news watchers, casual voters that tune in and all they see is that slick authority. I don't know if it's true or not. He's diced some stat that's impossible to parse. He was full of numbers, and to your point, Judge, he was full of moralizing as well. How would you dare demean LGBT community as you ban books? There's the lie. Random stat, 3,000 books.
There's no such thing as banning age-appropriate material, okay? There's a lot of things we can't talk about on this platform. A lot of things. Okay, and there's a lot of things that people of a certain age cannot see and should not see. DeSantis, again, that is a lie. DeSantis wasn't banning anything. What Democrats do is they obfuscate and they twist and contort and mangle reality to suit their little interest, their ideological interests. Okay, free speech has to do with being able to hear or to talk about and hear and discuss and debate a laptop before a presidential contest that possibly had bribery and graft. We couldn't talk about Hunter's laptop because 50 Intel officials, Twitter back then, and all of media said, oh my God, it's a Kremlin operation. That's called censorship. Censorship is not banning age-appropriate material from young people who shouldn't be able to see that at that age. That's it. That's not censorship. That's common sense. But anyway, let's listen to Matt Gaetz talking about a Senate run.
Oh, thank you so much. I wish you were all in the United States Senate. I wanted quite badly to be your next Attorney General, and to be nominated by President Trump for that position was indeed the honor of my professional life. And I view it greatly as a validation of the choice that the voters in Northwest Florida made over and over again to send me to fight for them. But some things don't go according to plan. Matter of fact, one of my Republican colleagues said to me as I had been nominated, Matt, if you leave the Republican conference in the House of Representatives and go to the Department of Justice, we actually think you can improve the quality of both institutions. But I saw the writing on the wall, and that my nomination would cause a delay of the important work that we see ahead. And that is because there remain anti-Trump forces within the Republican conference in the United States Senate. And President Trump needs an Attorney General on day one. And I just assumed when I withdrew my nomination, looking at everyone else who had been Attorney General, that I would be replaced by someone less attractive. But instead we got Pam Bondi, who is brilliant and lovely, who is talented and courageous, who is creative and bold. Pam Bondi will be a phenomenal Attorney General for President Trump. She has my support and all of ours, and we're going to do everything to see that the mission is accomplished. But the DOJ must change. It must end weaponization of our government. It must facilitate rather than frustrate the largest deportation in American history. It must stop the unlawful surveillance of our fellow Americans. And it must punish the companies involved in the transport, manufacturing, and distribution of fentanyl. And most importantly, on day one, the Department of Justice has to be ready to pardon the non-violent January 6 defendants who were abused by a two-tier justice system. Pam will do these things. We must get her confirmed, and as we look at these Senate confirmations, I must say, I think I moved the Overton window just a bit. The Senate must confirm Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., and perhaps most importantly, my good friend for the next FBI director, Kash Patel. Republican senators should be ashamed of themselves if they believe the Hillary Clinton lie that somehow Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian agent. I care far more.
See, Democrats will grandstand, moralize, pontificate, preach, lecture, and then they'll believe lies, and then they'll hyperventilate about Trump lying because the Washington Post said he lied 30,000 times. But they don't tell you that the Washington Post utilized a standard based on this philosophy of language where semantics were, debated upon within each accusation of Trump being a lying. So it's like, if you use that standard to derive, to come up with 30,000 Trump lies, you would have gotten 70 or 80,000 Biden lies. Okay. Possibly 100,000 Bill Clinton and President Obama lies. Okay, Democrats were telling you that Biden was going to stay in the presidential contest for every day for 3 weeks. Then they pontificate about Trump lying, and it's like anyone they don't like is a Kremlin operative. Anything that goes against their ideology helps our enemies, and it's like, that makes no sense. That's a very sad and pathetic way of justifying your foreign policy or whatever policy you have. Simply saying it benefits our enemies to think differently is not only stupid, it's not logical. Okay, reality and logic is not dictated by what your enemies, by whether or not the reality or logic benefits one's enemies. If your enemy, your adversary, also drinks water and breathes air, it's not good for you to do the opposite. But anyway, let's continue.
More that Tulsi Gabbard will clean up the deep state, tell the truth, and keep America out of forever wars.
And that's how you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump. And that's how Trump won the popular vote. And that's why the Never Trump Republicans have zero influence in the Republican Party. People are tired of never-ending military conflict. And I've been saying that for like 8 years.
And while it is a little odd, I don't particularly care that RFK Jr. may have killed a bear or texted back a thirsty reporter. I care far more that RFK Jr. will stop big pharma and big food and big chemical companies from killing our fellow Americans through poison. And it is offensive to me that Republican senators want to tweeze through the life of Pete Hegseth when they haven't lifted a finger in many cases for the lives of the 8,600 patriots who were purged from the Department of Defense as the consequence of an unlawful vaccine mandate. I won't rest, Hegseth won't rest, and Donald Trump will not rest until those patriots are welcomed back with their full rank and back pay. Republican senators, we, the voters of this movement, will not accept the answer that you voted for Joe Biden's nominees, like Lloyd Austin, but refused Trump's. Politics will encounter more accountability these days. We just saw it last week. Last week, every lobbyist in Washington, D.C. wanted this 1,500-page bill to pass with billions of dollars in pork, with the funding of the censorship industrial complex, with the funding of bio labs and foreign aid that do not serve America's interests. They had all the wind at their back. They had backed us up against the Christmas break, and thanks to Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Turning Point and the millions of people who are mobilized on X, we defeated the bill of the lobbyists, and we are ready to march on with America First agenda. And the Democrats, they just don't.
And Mike Johnson likely won't be Speaker of the House anymore. See, I just don't get it, Even if they say to Mike Johnson or Kevin McCarthy, hey, you know what? Funding will dry up for Republicans. What does it matter? What does it matter? The funding that President Trump got, that was far more of a grassroots funding. Most of the billionaires and most of Wall Street still side with Democrats. It's really funny to hear like far left people talk about how Republicans are the moneyed class. Like, no, actually, most of the billionaires vote Democrat. All of Hollywood, okay, all of media. I mean, all of the greatest centers of wealth side with the Democratic Party. They sided with the Democrats against Trump, and Trump still got the popular vote. So my question is, well, why didn't Kevin McCarthy or why doesn't Mike Johnson play ball with populist Trump Republicans? Which it wouldn't be that big of a deal. You wouldn't have to shut down the government, but you don't capitulate that. You don't capitulate so quickly. Democrats shut down the government during Trump, and they blamed it on Trump. So it's like, you have to use leverage. My God, that's the whole thing with McCarthy and Mike Johnson. Use leverage. Kevin McCarthy could have been an amazing, amazing Speaker of the House. He did a great job getting the House Republican, but then he got kicked out by Matt Gaetz, which has to do with the ethics report also. Very likely, McCarthy was, I wouldn't say, I'm not accusing him of anything, but McCarthy is probably a very powerful, influential adversary to have. So that possibly played a role into the ethics report being released. But again, it's like the ethics report, Matt Gaetz' ethics report is pretty much a weekend according to the Hunter laptop. So I mean, and then the Democrats, oh my God. It's like they hype. What gets Democrats energized is not what leads to political victory on the national stage anymore. The average American is tired of Democratic Party pontificating, preaching, moralizing. They're tired of it, especially because, I mean, now you have 90s musical artists basically doing the same things as Hollywood producers and New York Democratic donors who own islands. So it's like, and then you have Hunter's laptop, which is, again, like that's allegedly hundreds of examples there of an ethics report that Democrats don't care about.
Get it. They continue to criticize Elon Musk as if he is acting in self-interest, when we all see that Elon is acting alongside President Trump in the national interest. And we have something now that we've never had before. We have the ability to lash the resources that Elon is committed to with the energy and the mobilization and the infrastructure built by Charlie Kirk and animated by Turning Point Patriots in chapters all over America. Many have asked which perch I will be fighting from next. And some of you throughout this conference have even given me a few suggestions. My fellow Floridians have asked me to eye the governor's mansion in Tallahassee. Maybe special counsel to go after the insider trading for my former colleagues in Congress. It seems I may not have had enough support in the United States Senate. Maybe I'll just run for Marco Rubio's vacant seat in the United States Senate and join some of those folks. And my friends.
So let's listen to that again.
Have had enough support in the United States Senate. Maybe I'll just run for Marco Rubio's vacant seat in the United States Senate and join some of those folks. And my.
So it's vacated right now. I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe DeSantis as governor can fill the seat with whomever he chooses. Gaetz already has tremendous political support in Florida. So, I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a vacated seat. So before the next contest for governor, DeSantis can nominate or fill the seat with Matt Gaetz. But see, again, the ethics report, this ethics report is Hunter Biden's laptop. It's the same thing. Hunter Biden's laptop allegedly has even more criminal activity. Alleged. The difference, though, is that you have actual evidence that you can indict, almost certainly. Democrats had a quote-unquote ethics report for 2 years. They didn't indict Matt Gaetz. Why? Because there wasn't enough evidence to indict him. Meaning there was no evidence there for a criminal trial. Meaning that all of this is just, again, allegations that when leveled against Joe Biden or Hunter or Bill Clinton or others, like George Stephanopoulos, how dare he go after Nancy Mace? How dare he do that? After working with Bill Clinton in the Clinton White House, and Stephanopoulos has the audacity on ABC News to accuse Trump of something he didn't do? Well, that's why they paid the $15 million. He was not convicted in a criminal trial of a specific crime. Again, it's like, finally, these liars are being held accountable. They paid $15 million because they lied about what Trump is alleged to have done in a civil jury. So, again, Democrats all about public relations. A civil jury came to a conclusion, a conclusion about a criminal, what a criminal jury would normally decide. Anyway, let's continue.
friend Steve Bannon and others have suggested that I return to the House of Representatives on January 3rd, but I would remind Steve, when he got out of prison, he didn't punch a guard on the way out. For the moment, I'll enjoy being one of you. It was James Madison who said that the most powerful position in America would not be congressman or senator or even president, but that of citizen, because we put such an obligation on the citizenry to ignite the patriotism that the country needs. President Trump will need warriors at every level of government, local, state, and federal. And he's going
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get to this. We'll get to the rest of this later this evening. I will have a live stream at either 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern. So every day from here on out, for the rest of the year, I'll do 2 to 3 live streams a day, or 2 live streams and an upload. But I do think that this is an article in Politico, how Matt Gaetz helped make Ron DeSantis the only chance, ladies and gentlemen, and hit subscribe to this channel if you're new. And Paul and everyone here, thank you. Agent Pepsi, thank you for the super chat. And to my members, Caroline, everyone here, thank you so very, very much. Become a member also, thank you. What can I say other than this is a possibility, and you need to call their bluff, okay? The thing Democrats are good at is preaching, lecturing, condemning, being indignant, being outraged, grandstanding, getting on a soapbox. They're basically the atheist version of the 80s televangelists. And I think, and we'll talk about more of this tonight for the second live stream of the day, I think that if Matt Gaetz goes to the Senate, completely changes the Senate for the better. And it helps Ron DeSantis. Again, if there's anybody that Ron DeSantis has a chance to be nominee if he does something like that. If he does something like helps catapult Gaetz to the Senate in Florida, okay? And every Democrat condemning Matt Gaetz should also ask themselves why they never condemned Joe Biden or Hunter Biden before 24. So anyway, hit subscribe, people. God bless you all. Happy 2025 to everybody. May all your dreams and wishes come true. You know what? You can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. Stay safe, happy. Happiness is the most important. So just, if you're happy, continue being happy. Continue doing everything you're doing to stay happy. God bless you all. And I'll see you tonight at around, I would say 10, 11 p.m.